efficient, and that's going to require us to avoid the wrong person. The way you do that is through self-intimacy. It's through really enjoying intimacy with yourself, so that you don't. That's the only thing that would get in the way, right? Like what would get in the way? It would be. That's the only thing. Like if you could just turn that switch off, and you can do that as a man, because men have post-nut clarity, and women have post-nut cloudiness, mental cloudiness. So this is a guide for men. For women, it's completely different. I advise women to cling to their family, their father and mothers, try to stay home, try to, even if the women work, try to have somebody pick them up who they trust, who can be as much protective around them as possible. So the step is, for step 2 is you actually do want somebody who who agrees with this. So that's going to be part 2 in the process. You writing down a list, including that the person's going to agree with you on these core issues. They're going to agree with that you're going to be the man of the house, the leader, the one who's obviously more logical, can be trusted more to protect and make decisions in the best long-term interest. And so part of this is like the intelligence of knowing that you're gonna be selecting the person, and you want to avoid, like, the goal should be to avoid as many as possible, like be as precise as possible, like things that, knowing what you absolutely do not want, stuff like if they smoked, or they, for the kids, do they want, is it okay for them to have to, do they want the kids to avoid premarital intimacy? Even if you specify things for you and her, but is she doing it on her, willingly? And people think this is controlling of men, but it's actually totally up to the woman. Yeah, she is the one who gets to choose. This is discussed prior. And then you might ask, well, what about, if you're avoiding premarital intimacy? Well, guess what? You can be compatible with someone Okay, you can be compatible with them if you oh. If you know each other, and you can know each other by, as a consequence of masturbation, you know not only like some of your interests of what type of body type you want, the man, the woman, kind of think about that, and but you're also going to be thinking about things like the duration and frequency that you want intimacy. And this calculates whatever level of priority for you. The next thing is, point 4 is, you really want to be with somebody who is like who's somebody who you think that you'd like to give them oral sex as a man. You want somebody who you'd want to give oral sex to, right? So okay, next point, efficiency, right? It's not wasting any time with the wrong person. So, and this is also unfair to the woman, like this whole idea of dating and everything, it's not, it uses up her time that, everyone's on a ticking clock, as far as what is a good match for them. And whether if they're gonna have children or whatever, people should want to get married and live their lives together. Like, don't like this whole promiscuity thing. It's a result of people giving up on marriage. Okay. And so, efficiency. Back to efficiency. All right. All right. So we got the list. We got so it's looking at it. It's just looking at a woman and thinking, would you want to give her oral sex? And this has a lot to do with her hygiene, like if she looks healthy and fit, and if her legs don't have too much, not much fat, because if they do, then the vagina doesn't have, can't really air out, right? So you want hygiene in that regard, and it's just a different there, like it's a different vantage point. It's like when you look at and as a bonus, fit women sometimes they have larger vulvas, which is it just adds to the experience. So, yeah. So yeah, if the goal if the goal is to what's the goal? The goal is to get married and have a wife, right? And ideally a virgin wife. Then the goal equally has to be to, while you're working on that, encourage others to consider that and to create a culture that creates this. And this doesn't mean that I'll be less physically attracted to a woman if she isn't a virgin, and maybe her, for example, her, in theory, some women like larger stimulation from a larger, men's privates, and so maybe she's had that experience, and she might think of that experience, and even if I'm married to her. But to me, it's not me. It's not the essence of my relationship. The essence of my connection with her is the idea of her vulva. It's about her vulva, which is actually like an external. It's you get the idea. All right, what's the fuck's going on here? Okay, things look fine. Oh, I see. This side. So. Okay, so that's already like 6 good points. I'll try to come together a few more here. So another one is just working longer. Like the whole point is you're not being intimate, you're not engaging with anyone, you're working more. You're working more, and you're like working for your wife. So you're working for her. Okay. And this living for her, that means you're gonna change the way you deal with money. You're gonna save money differently. You're gonna operate differently. Okay, here's another side note: is even if you're not planning, if you're not going to have children, or you can't for some reason, it doesn't mean does not mean that you shouldn't. Think about how because inevitably you're gonna share values, okay? Like, and you're gonna express those values outwards. Some difficult subject matter, like if the person was mentally or the baby was mentally or physically handicapped to a point that they couldn't have a functional life. And this is like determined, like, as the baby develops, if it looks normal and healthy. Would they be willing to abort it or not? Or what do they think of, like, at the end of life? That is a side note, but it's relevant. Like, at the end of life, I plan to help my wife, guide her through a end of life experience, like a hallucinogenic experience, and then help to give her assisted leaving of her body. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. Oh, there's a viewer. Hey, aloha. Oh, it's like 1:30 a.m. Hawaii time. Hope you're feeling good. I'm feeling good. Let's talk more. All right, but wishing you a good night. It's time for me to make some stuff happen. Okay, I'm gonna say aloha. Take care.